Hello everyone, it's so wonderful to see you all today. I want to start off by saying a really big thank you for sparing the time to share your experiences and insight as part of a fantastic panel discussion with Slick on the benefits of cutting costs and growing your business by switching from paper to Salon Software. It's a key part of our digital download week on creativeheadmag.com. Salon owners are looking to cut costs, so we're looking at ideas on how you can ensure you cut waste and costs from your business and how Salon Software might be the difference between a profit or a loss to your business. That is why all you lovely people are here today, because we want to hear directly from you as the people experiencing it firsthand and the ones who are using Salon Software to its full potential. Joining the discussion, we have Gordon Adamson from Boyd Heron Beauty in Carlisle, England, Kerry Dixon from Numero Dix in Campbelltown, Scotland, Dale Hollinshead from Hazel and Hayden in Birmingham, and Rob Smith, the co-founder of Slick, which is a new generation of salon software partnered with L'Oréal Professionnel Paris that aims to support salon owners with the tools and education to run and grow their business. So, first of all, software can often be seen as a cost in itself, whereas a paper-free diary is free. Dale, how has Salon Software helped you and your business cut waste and ensure you're profitable?
So we've been using software for a long time now, and it just allows you to, keep a track on everything that you're using and doing and stuff like that. And in turn, although there's a small cost monthly, I think it cuts staff time down. You can do more jobs because it's quicker to produce reports and all sorts of different things. So.
Amazing. And Kerry, how do you feel that it's sort of been a great way for making sure you're profitable? Oh, I think you're on mute, Kerry. It's all right.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry.
Right.
I'm a wee bit creaky as well. I've got a wee cough. Anyway, it's cut down a lot of no-shows. But going further back, I've had two different salon softwares, but sometimes I think salons that have a paper copy don't think that they're worthy enough. And I was thinking a lot about this. I didn't think I was worthy enough of having an online booking system or any type of system. So I would say to anybody that's out there, look at yourself, look at your salon, you are worth it. And I think your clients appreciate that. When you take that jump, it's just turning the tail on its head kind of thing. And if I was maybe wanting to book somewhere, I would want to know that I'm going to the best. So it just energizes you and just makes you want to move forward. And the support you get is unbelievable. So there's no question. No question.
Absolutely. And Gordon, do you feel very similar?
Yeah, I don't look at it as a cost, to be fair. It's an investment for us. Mm-hmm. We were early adopters. I'm not a hairdresser, so I'm a business owner. And if you look at what it actually generates as against the small costs, it's a no-brainer. The engagement with the clients is a bonus. Somebody mentioned no-shows. They're a thing of the past. It cuts down on cancellations. We've changed so that we give a reminder 72 hours before, and it gives you a fighting chance for cancellations to be filled, that slot. And to be honest, it's my manager is not IT literate at all, but we just see it as a paper diary or a computer screen, because it's exactly the same. The columns are the same, so filling it is really simple. But then it gives you so many reports after it, so you can analyze what you're doing. And you've got, we are getting 15% of our clients booking online now. You add that in with the rebooks, so we're always over 50% before we start. We're ahead of the game.
Brilliant. And carrying on from that sort of, Gordon, you said it's an investment, but what would you say to someone who might have said previously that they can't afford Salon Software?
It's your money's back within the first few days. SMS marketing, I must spend a couple of £100 a month on it, but it's paid within the first text I send out, and the rest is profit. and it just we're sitting with an occupancy over 100%, and I think the industry average, people are happy at 70. Well, why would you have staff sitting about doing nothing? That's the real cost.
Absolutely. I believe, Rob, what's your thoughts on it as the co-founder?
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. And I think the way I think a lot of people start to think about it is every single appointment that you've got in your diary is worth 40 quid, 30 quid, 50 quid, whatever your average bill is. But if that client doesn't turn up, that's revenue, that's money you're not making. And if so if you get 1 cancellation, 2 cancellations, 2 no-shows a month, that's 80 quid, 100 quid. Now, if your software bill is only 30 quid a month, that's 70 quid of profit. And so it's that lost opportunity. Running a salon is really complex. You've got fixed overheads, fixed costs. You need to be filling every single slot. And if you're not filling that slot and there's cancellations or there's an empty slot, that's costing money. And if you've got a system in place that can actually stop that and fill that slot, that is profit. And so if you start to think of it that way around, as Gordon says, it very quickly becomes, I guess, an investment in generating profit than a cost.
Kerry, I can see you nodding your head there. Have you sort of found similar experiences yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had somebody messaging me just yesterday saying, can I cancel my appointment? And although it's less than, because we do the 48 hours rather than 72, but even at that, I'm running the wait list. So you are one step ahead of the game. I've got somebody there waiting to just get popped into that slot. And yeah, it's absolutely a no-brainer. And I'm not tech-minded by any stretch of the imagination. I'm the world's worst. But as Rob will tell you.
Nonsense.
But no, it's an absolute no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer.
And Dale, I can see lots of nodding head from you there. You know, I'm sure it's very similar, but what would you say to somebody if they sort of said, I can't afford Salon Software?
So we've used software for quite a long time, but we've just recently changed how much of our software we're using, because before the 1st of April this year, we had just under £25,000 worth of no-shows. So if you think that's like, you know, a really small period of the year, so we actually started to take deposits, and we changed our cancellation policy. So we're working on 72 hours as well. Because before it was 24 hours, but sometimes you get cancellations the evening that you're leaving, and it doesn't really give you much hope on rebooking them. And so, you know, I think our software is a couple of £100 a month or something like that. It's kind of a no-brainer when you think, well, actually, you can charge a cancellation fee for the people that are deciding to cancel, you know, with under 24 hours notice or something. So, you know, I think it's a sensible thing to do. And actually, when you think about it, it's not a great investment at all when you're managing to recoup some of that money.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, you have just mentioned that you've been using it now for a number of years, but what was the initial reason that made you decide to switch from paper to digital in the first place?
So we've never actually been paper diaried. The salon's coming up to 11 years old. And I think I've always worked in salons that have had software. So for me, it was kind of like something that I just carried on to. Do you know what I mean? I think, you know, I put the cost of software into my budget and went forward. But I think if you were using a paper diary, I just think for me, I am not the most organized person. And I think actually it was just a way of making sure I was as organized as I possibly could be. You know, given when we opened the salon, it was so small and I had 1,000,001 jobs to do. It just made life very easy, you know.
Absolutely. And Kerry, how about you? What was the original reason that made you make the switch?
So I am my mum started the business, so we've been going for 46 years now. And obviously mum had a paper copy, and when I looked at moving the business on, because we grew the business as well, I did have one member of staff that came on board, and she came from another salon who had a digital platform to work on, and she said it was really good. So it took me, I'm not going to lie, it took me a good couple of years to try and get my head round, you know, how it would be advantageous for me to do that. But once I did it, The first experience wasn't great, but when I moved to Slick, and it's the encouragement as well. And nobody thinks that we're hairdressers. Well, I am a hairdresser. I'm not there to work a system or whatever, but it's so user friendly. I can't tell you, it's so user friendly. But yeah, it was a big decision, I'm not going to lie. Once I did it, I'm now looking at, what can I do next? And the guys will tell you, I'm always saying, could we do this or whatever?
Yeah.
It's just moved everything on. And it's thank goodness that I've got it.
Fantastic. And Gordon, for you, how do you feel? What was the reason that you decided to make the switch as well?
We bought this business 2 hours before Boris released the first lockdown, and the phone literally went mental. And I looked at the paper diary and I thought, we can't work with this. It was mayhem. How anybody could look at it and actually understand it. But there was it was a no-brainer. We got straight onto Slick and it was up and running within a couple of days. But there was no information retention from the client. Everything was manual. So you could easily make mistakes. Whereas now we know who our clients are. We didn't even know how many clients we had. And we've got 4,500. But we only know that because we're recording the information. We're recording cute things like their birthday. Stock control. It was a joke when you walk into a business and they didn't know how much the cost was. They didn't know how much the retail was. It could easily be wrong. They didn't know when it was running low. So to automate all of this, it just saves so much time. Mm-hmm. And the system tells you when you need stock. You don't have to think. And it releases, again, time for people to go and cut hair.
Mm. And Rob, are you finding that with I'm sure you work with so many salons, and I'm sure they probably echo the same sort of thing, that actually it's just about staying up to date, it's about staying current, and also the time side of things. Do you find that a lot of them would say the same sort of reasons why they made the switch?
I think time's a big one, but I think a word that we always hear day to day is control. And actually people want to take control of your business. And if you are having to lug a paper diary around, it's very hard to control your business. Whereas if you're using a cloud-based system, you can run a report from home on your iPad, you can log in on your phone, you've got constant control. And I think that to a business owner, as a business owner myself, that's really important. You want to feel safe and secure about what's going on with your business. And I think it does allow you that insight. You can see what appointments being moved. You can see who booked what appointment. So it allows you to to manage your team. It allows you to manage your business. And I think that's something that's really important to all business owners.
Absolutely. And obviously for some out there is still that element of fear factor involved. As Kerry's kind of touched on, if you aren't necessarily tech-minded, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. It can feel worrying or too complicating, or you might just think it might not work for you. It might not work for your business model. But, Dale, how did you find that switch? Is it as scary as people think?
So I wouldn't say that I'm particularly tech-minded, to be fair. But I think if you have a salon of different types of people, I think sometimes it's really good to actually just see who is quite savvy with stuff like that and get them to help you with it. I think sort of like switching to different forms of software and stuff like that, it is always scary because every model of software has a different way of working, and it takes a little bit of time to adapt. But the short time it takes to adapt, after that you just realize how much easier it is for life. And we've all got loads of things to do, so why not make life a little bit easier, even if it's harder in the very short term.
And Gordon, obviously I know you spoke about all the paper and trying to streamline it and not having that control. So was it scary when you did make that jump? Did you find it worrying at all, or was it actually totally as easy as you hoped it would be?
You'd be better asking my salon manager, who nearly had a mental breakdown when I said we were going automated. But I promise you, she's the least tech savvy person you will ever meet in your life, and she's a whiz round the system now. So I suppose it can be daunting, but it doesn't need to be. You've got the support there. but it's not, if you can run a paper diary, you can run an automated diary. It's not difficult. It prompts you when you need to take a deposit. It tells you need to take a deposit. It takes the fear of the making a mistake away. So again, deposits, it's amazing how people turn up when you take a deposit. So it's it was a little daunting for them, but not, it was quickly part of our DNA. It's just what we do, and nobody would ever think of going back now. It's archaic, a paper diary.
And Kerry, how about you?
Yeah, can I just jump in there and say I totally get where you're coming from. Also, there'll be a lot of salons out there that have weekly regulars, fortnightly regulars, monthly, blah, blah, blah. So I was the busiest person having to write in the paper copy to make sure that everybody was in. And more often than not, you would make a mistake. I would take the book home at night and I would go through it. And so now it's the click of a button. If you've got weekly appointments, or even if they want to change it, before, if somebody was a fortnightly appointment and they wanted to, but can I just come in next week? And then I'll come in a fortnight after that. And you're like, you've got to be kidding me. I've got to rub it all out. And, you're going into your fortnightly, just no. But now it's just, that's no problem. Click of a button, and then you can start the rolling fortnightlies again, or 3 weeklies or whatever.
Brilliant.
That's another big thing.
Absolutely. And Rob, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because there's a big stigma around software must be complicated. But actually, if you think about it from your own personal point of view, like Kelsey, what's your favorite app? Like mine's Amazon, and it's a guilty pleasure. But at no point did anyone from Amazon actually teach me how to use it.
Yeah.
I just got on and downloaded it. That modern software, modern technology is easy to use, and so Salon Software should be no different. Now, I guess I spent 7 years at L'Oreal, and if you look at the way color brands work, for them, education is a big thing. If you go and work with Weller, you get education, you get taught how to use those colors. For us, software should be no different. You should have an education team that's there to actually show you how to do it, to help you make your first appointment, to help you show how reports work or stock works or how the marketing works. And so I think a lot of software brands are very different. And I think that education is such a key part of it, because a lot of it is intuitive, you will learn it, but then you also need the experts, as Kerry said, as Dale said, to actually come in and show you how to get the most out of it.
Absolutely. So something that you have all kind of touched on briefly, but it's known that client retention is an ongoing issue across the board. People's working and lifestyle habits are changing, and kind of where they would often be going after work to a salon, that's no longer a thing if they're working from home. So Dale, you've obviously mentioned as well, how has software helped with not only keeping clients coming back, but also winning the new ones?
Well, so it allows you to reach out to people more, more easily. And I think it does allow you to look at what retention you've got, and if you need to maybe kind of do a little bit of work towards getting some people back into the salon that you might not have seen for a little while. If you're working with a paper diary, it's very difficult to kind of assess all of that, isn't it? And I think, it makes life easy just sending emails out or text messages like we were speaking about earlier and stuff to try and get people back in. But habits have changed for everybody, including myself. And I think it's just kind of like, it makes life a little bit easier, kind of looking into how we can work with different habits of spending and shopping and lifestyle and all that sort of stuff, and maybe kind of cater towards individual people's needs,
Absolutely. And Gordon, I know, again, you mentioned cancellations and that being a big sort of concern. So expand, how has that kind of helped you by using Salon Software to kind of stop all of those?
The SMS is so cute and clever, and I can drive down exactly who's not been in and how long they've not been in for, and what type of service to get. So if I've got a gap, I'm almost matching the potential, we'll call them sleeping client, lure them back in. And they're not lured back in with with discounts or anything else, but I know they've not been in a salon for X amount of weeks. And we all know you get floaters that go from one salon to another and then back again. You're still speaking to these people. The other nice thing, the online booking sits nicely for social media advertising, because you're always got a call to action there. And if it's all well and good showing people how lovely your stylists create hair, but if you can't get them in through your door, it's not an advertisement then. So it's just that little click, and people sit there at 9 o'clock at night scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, and all it takes is one click.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Sunday night, we had 5 online bookings on a Sunday night, and it really motivates you when you wake up on a Monday morning and you check it, and you think, well, that's 5 bookings I wouldn't have got.
Yeah.
But let's face it, the working mums and dads don't get time to be thinking, right, I need to book my hair in now. But at 9 o'clock when the kids are in bed, and that's when they're on, they're catching up on their social media and everything else. So if they've had a text from me during the day, I'll get the booking at night.
Absolutely. And ultimately, that's the bottom line for businesses. Social media is actually meant to be a marketing tool. So by using the software, you're able to join the dots, and it's just one less hurdle, because rather than them coming across your profile, but then having to dial a number and book in, you've got that book now button, and it just takes them, and it just, it's about getting the followers, but then transferring that into bookings. And that's the benefit of using software for sure. So Kerry, I know obviously you've mentioned the cancellations and things like that as well. Do you use sort of things like deposits now as a result of going digital? Is that something that you've implemented in your business to kind of cut down on cancellations and no-shows?
Yes. So that was scary. Because I was looking at it from salon owner point of view, but when I spoke to the team and we reviewed everything, we didn't take deposits. I don't take deposits from everybody. I have got a set amount of people that I do, and it's getting more and more, but it has certainly helped without a doubt. People now know that they've got 48 hours, and within that, if it's within that time that, the deposit's going to be lost. But also, I think it's about communication as well. Communication is absolutely key to whether it's deposits, bookings, anything. And if you just don't think of yourself as a salon owner or staff member or whatever, you're the client. How would you feel? So that's the way I now look at it. I look at it completely differently. If I was getting a text from my hairdresser saying, I haven't seen you for a while, hope things are okay, let's get you booked in, I'll be like, I haven't been there for ages. Let's get clicking that button. So it's just about looking at it from a client point of view as well. And I think with deposits, clients have realised that it's been a rocky ride for everybody, not just our industry, everybody. And if we want to get back to, we'll never get back to where we were, but some sort of normality, they absolutely will pay the deposit. It's the same as if you go to a hotel, restaurants now are doing it, everybody's doing it. So why should we be the tail end of it? Let's get in front of it and do it. So yeah, let's get communicating with clients, and they do love the birthday messages as well. And and when you look at the small cost, because again, you always think, oh, it's a text, oh, it's £6 or whatever. But what you get for that £6, and again, the reports tell you that, I can just send out maybe even say 10 texts, and I'll get a few £100 worth of business in from that. If you send out more, you'll get more. So again, it's great.
Fantastic. And Gordon, I believe you do use deposits as well. I think you might have mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, again, like Kerry, we don't take deposits from everyone, but every new client pays a deposit. And if they've got a time limit to pay the deposit, if they don't, they're not coming. But as Kerry said, it's the norm now. And any big salon, any big city, take deposits. And you just need to have the faith, because you think, my clients won't pay a deposit, but they will. And there's another cute thing, because if they're coming in, they're spending 90, £100 and getting their hair coloured, they're only paying 50 on the day. It's a softer blow, because getting your hair done is not cheap. It's worth it, but it isn't cheap. We don't want to be cheap either, but when you've already paid 50% up front 2 weeks earlier, and then the bill's only 50 quid, it's nice.
Yeah, it's kind of like splitting the cost for them in a way, which, you know, like you say,
it is and it isn't, but
yeah,
it just softens the blow.
Absolutely.
Gives you more chance to sell retail as well, because if the bill's only £45, you've got a chance to sell up on there as well. You've also got a chance to add, whether it be toners or Olaplex or anything else in there, and just to get that chance to up your revenue is worth it.
Fantastic. And finally, I'm going to ask each of you in turn, but what is your one piece of advice to salon owners that may have an element of a sort of embarrassment around still relying on paper? Dale, I'll go to you first.
Say the question again, sorry, babe.
What's your one piece of advice to salon owners that may still have an element of embarrassment around still relying on paper?
I think don't be scared and just take the jump. And I think, you know, there's nothing embarrassing about using a paper diary. It's just about seeking out somebody who can help you take that final jump, really. And you know, it's not embarrassing that you use paper. It's just the way that you've been working, you know. So don't be embarrassed and go further forward, because you'll realise how important it is to you later.
Fantastic. And Kerry, how about you?
My advice, because I took so long to do that jump as well, is maybe find, if you've got a quieter time. The guys will tell you, I actually don't have a quieter time now, and I'm so proud of how it's all came about. It's nuts. But if you have that quieter time, I would speak to your staff, get them on board with Slick. You're not in a contract. A lot of other salon softwares have a contract, because I was in a 5-year one before, and that was crazy. So there's no contract, so there's no, you know, you can try it out, and if it's not for you, it's not for you, but it will be. But try and find a quieter time that you can look at the training videos that the guys have got as well, because they are so simple, and they will be able to, Slick will be able to help you through that, no problem. And crazily, I don't know whether, Gordon, I don't know whether you were like this too, I actually ran a paper copy as well as the digital copy. How mad is that? Oh, that got sketched within about 3 days. But I was so scared, I can't tell you. But honestly, just go for it, but do it in a slightly quieter time that you can build on it, and the business will absolutely fly.
And Gordon, what would your one piece of advice be?
Well, I would hope that no salon in Carlisle would want to go digital. I hope they stay paper, but that aside, I just be careful that there's lots of software out there. A lot of them only do email marketing. It's a waste of time, absolute waste of time. We get bombarded with emails, and we're all, I know we all do it, delete, delete, delete. You will read a text. The text marketing sitting in beside your digital software is crucial. That would be my piece of advice.
And Rob, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, to Kerry's point slightly, I think the industry has changed a lot. And 20 years ago, the software was designed for the big chains. It was, you had to spend thousands of pounds on setup. You had to have a contract. You had to buy a device from them. So actually your startup costs were huge. Now things have changed. Everything, whether that be salon technology, consumer technology, Netflix, everything has changed. you can now have free trials. You can start to use it on your son or your daughter's iPad. You don't necessarily need to go and buy a £2,000 computer. There isn't a contract. So actually, I think the industry, and I guess we as a brand, have tried to reduce those barriers to entry. We've tried to make it easy for people to trial it. And as Kerry said, if it doesn't work for you, that's fine. Not every brand is right for every company, but it's almost give it a go. And I think people will help you set up. People will do this setup for you. People will even import all the client details for you. So you can literally get started with probably 15, 20 minutes worth of work. It shouldn't be seen as this big project that's going to take a year to do. Dip your toe into it, see how you get on, and go from there. And I think that would be my big message.
Fantastic. And would you believe it? The time has absolutely sped by. There have been some absolute pearls of wisdom shared, and thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time and your insight. It really has been amazing. So I know you're all super busy, so I won't keep you any longer. All there is left for me to say is a big thank you to all our wonderful panel members for sharing such valuable insight with us all. We at Creative Head hope you all feel empowered to implement Salon Software within your own business and ultimately boost that bottom line. If you need more inspiration, check out the wealth of advice we have on creativeheadmag.com as part of Digital Download Week. And on that note, viewers, until next time, goodbye. And thank you so much again for joining us this morning. It's been fantastic. So goodbye, everyone.
Bye.